Ladies and gentlemen, once again an extra nice fact bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. We gotta go on the dark web for this one. I got some internet lore, some deep internet lore. We gotta go so far onto the dark web that we need 7 VPNs, or is it 6? I forget the magical number. Oh my goodness. And we need 2 anonymous masks, okay? Guy Fawkes masks. Alright. Now, we need to talk about the Lake McDonald incident. Now, every now and then, within time, such horrible things happen that God decides he needs to just wipe everything out. Just destroy everything. And recently there have been some great evils. So great that they stand to destroy the whole bunches of us. And I'm not talking about social justice warriors. And I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about furries. So, like, we all know about Noah's Ark. It's legitimately crazy how many religions have the same thing, and legitimately how around the cradle of civilization there was a giant flood event. Also, we have situations like Sodom and Gomorrah. Here we have a situation that was so evil that God told Abraham, I'm gonna nuke it from orbit. And Abraham's like, don't you do it. And God is like, if you can find one good person in there, I will not nuke it from orbit. So he was like, alright, I'll go there. God sends some angels and he finds a guy named Lot, who's the craziest guy. And he's like, oh man, it's a funny story. He ends up getting out. He was the only good one. He gets out, but his evil wife was evil enough to look back and got turned into a pillar of salt. That's her down there. And the whole place got burned down to nothingness. It got burned down to nothingness, and there's nuance to it, though. Sorry, this nuance is so thick I'm going to have to take off one of my masks to be more real with you. So once the angels get the only good one within there, Mr. Lot, out of town, instead of going and hanging out with Father Abraham and the other individuals, apparently he wasn't good enough for them. No, they hung out in the cave where his daughters got him drunk, and then, well, magically they had 2 babies after that. Why didn't they just burn in this? Is this corruption? Is this the bad and the good? Okay, I feel pretty infected with yuck. Every now and then you just hear stories that just make you feel like, ugh, right? How is that in the Bible? How is that in the Bible? They teach that at Sunday school. They just don't teach you about the sodomy. And, like, it was amazing. Legitimately, there were angels that went in here, and everyone just wanted to have sex with them. Like, as a religious story, it's really something. Alright. Now let's talk about what happened at Lake McDonald's. I got you. This was a situation where evil was so apparent in such a specific place that God just nuked it from orbit. Nobody seemed to notice. Just he burnt it with fire. Like all of the furries. It was a little miniature furry convention, and all of the furries had gotten together and dressed up in their cosplay. And then suddenly somebody pulled out a cheese grater. Something about the cheese grater was dark magic. There's certain things that will create magic in this world, ladies and gentlemen. Like crystals, we all know about that. Perhaps a murderer's gun or knife. Yes, very magical. There's something about a cheese grater. No, don't look. Look away from the sun. Don't look. So ultimately, the Lake McDonald was a hyper-intense case of a cheese grater incident. Things got so crazy there, one crazy midnight, that Just like the Dark Eldar, everyone got together and was doing such crazy things, but it was just so weird and funky that it opened a dimension into another universe where demons started legitimately coming out and being all freaky and scary and getting in on it too, and eating all of these little humans that didn't even know they were summoning them by having all the sexy time with each other. And God looked down and he's like, what? In front of my McDonald's? No. In America? No, I shall not have this. God looked down upon the incidents, looks down upon Lake McDonald with his 2 golden AK. No, wait. Yes, that's right, just as the AI wrote it, because computers never lie, right, kid? God looked down upon... That's an intro. I guess you're God, you can make whatever you want, right? Anyways, God looked down upon this sight, this fiasco, and fired his heavy American weaponry down directly into the parking lot. The furries and demons were wiped out, and McDonald's was completely unharmed. You can see the border. You can see the border wall. God had his angels stand right there, lining up, shoulder to shoulder, right next to one another, so no one would hurt the dear McDonald's. And the McDonald's stands today, some say. Ladies and gentlemen, do not look into the cheese grater story. Do not look into the incident. For though you might want to go out and look into the void, should you look into the void will, I assure you, look into you, unless you're behind 7 proxies and have at least 2 Guy Fawkes masks on. And if you go hunting for monsters, you yourself will become a monster. But sometimes you have to, in order to be a monster big enough to keep the other monsters at bay. Because some of the monsters think that they only have to care about their children or themselves. Remember, you globalists, we do have a country we have to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the truth. Because I write it to be. I'm going to say this story 3 times to myself, and if I say it 3 times, it must be true. Oh, woe is poor McDonald, built on the wrong side of the tracks. What sort of backwoods country still uses train? Or is Canada backwards for not using train? I mean, we had train track that went right across the country. But now it's like if you want to go from one village to another, you have to have a lot. Oh. Sources say the only true survivor was Hunter Biden, but since Biden Sr. erased all of history in his presidency, we're just not going to talk about that. It's said that Hunter was the one in the silver suit right over here. Who's a good boy? I think it's very important at this point to say that we need peace among races, amongst people. But furries can yiff and help.